Thank you very much indeed, Andrew, for joining me today. We're going to be discussing about how you can use market research, particularly for tech businesses. Brief introduction to me and my role. So my name is Lee Simpson. I am account director here at Skout PR. We work mainly with exclusively with B2B businesses, about 50% of those businesses in the tech space. So working with tech businesses of varying sizes in different locations around the world. We've worked with the lovely people at Sapio Research on several occasions with a lot of success for different clients, and would love to talk to you today, Andrew, about how we can use market research for tech companies specifically. But before we do that, I will let you introduce yourself and what Sapio does.
Thanks, Lee. Yeah, so I'm Andrew White. I'm the CEO of Sapio Research, but also a co-founder. And like Scout, a lot of our clients are in the tech sector, and we mainly focus on B2B and tech in terms of our research. And in terms of what we do, we work predominantly in the content and thought leadership side of research, but we also run audience understanding studies and brand research as well.
Great. I thought it would be good to start, Andrew, just thinking about some of the different challenges or unique challenges that tech companies might face when they're trying to market themselves. And I know that I've got a view on that from the way that we work with clients, but interested in your experience, how you think some of those challenges might be different to other sectors and other types of businesses that you've seen.
Definitely. I mean, if you take the marketing role within a tech company and compare that to a company that's not in tech, there are some big differences. I think one of the main differences is just the ever evolving industry, and the fact that new companies are popping up every 2 seconds, and everyone has to kind of keep up the pace. So that's a big challenge. But also, I think it's worth noting just the complexity of some of the products and services that these tech companies are providing, and getting it from a stage of the developers producing a product through to what are the benefits and how to sell it with the marketing people coming on board. That can be quite a challenging process. So it's definitely understanding that can be a big hurdle to creating a great marketing strategy. And then finally, just in terms of how marketeers work in the tech sector, it's different to, say, a consumer sector where many people are aware of the brands already that you may be working with. There's more information on how the competitors are performing. For example, if you look at social media and you want to know more about how Apple are doing, there's going to be a lot of information through X, through Facebook, through all these different social media networks that you can really build a perception of a company. If you take that through to B2B, you're working in tech. You're working in much more specific niche sectors with fewer individuals. So gathering that information can be really quite challenging. And then it's through that also thinking about how the priorities of them as marketers are different. So a lot of the time, marketers in tech companies will be focusing more on driving content. So making sure that their brand is visible to the audience, because like I said, it's not a case of doing huge ad campaigns. It's more about more niche targeting. And then finding lead generation as well. That's often a big responsibility for marketers within the tech sector. They're often more closer to the sales department, as just the importance of driving leads within the organization is very connected to that marketing expertise as well.
I think just as an extension to that, one of the things that I find is, you're right that a lot of the tech companies that we work with, they might solve one very particular problem that's super niche, but also if you're working in that business, you might be a developer there. And in terms of the product roadmap, you're so engrossed in it. You might have been working on this particular product or a new release for maybe for a year or a lot more. It could be something that you're so sort of embedded in that ultimately you really want to talk about the product and you want to talk about yourselves externally. So one of our jobs as a PR agency is to think about diversifying that and to think about moving away from the product story, because ultimately that might not resonate as well with the media. So really considering how we can broaden out the story, what else you can talk about as a tech company, um, is a challenge for us, and is something that we're always trying to solve and to do. But equally, if you're maybe slightly unwilling to have an opinion about something. So, for example, if your CEO or founder isn't necessarily willing to put themselves on the line and have a really um, not an extreme opinion on something necessarily, but is willing to just to say something that might be considered to be slightly controversial. If they're not willing to do that, one thing we're having to constantly do is forage for ways to get different types of news stories out about the business. And one way that I find that we can do that is through market research, because it enables us to have some credibility. It enables us to talk about something that is going to be really valuable to the target audience and that ultimately will secure some media coverage, ideally. And yeah, so just really coming up with new ideas and new things to talk about, I think is always a challenge for us. What else can we talk about that isn't ourselves, that isn't the tech product? And I think, yeah, research definitely can help to do that.